Hey kids, Dean with Crypto the Wonder Dog. We, in this world of broadcast and, we have all this high-tech equipment and have lots of PAs and everything running around for me. Actually, I don't. But occasionally when you're doing all this stuff by yourself, you kind of mess up some things. Some things are not in your control though. So we did a show with Alex from celsius.network last week. I went to put the show together and realized that his audio, my recording of his audio, didn't quite work out. So he was gracious enough to give us another day here with Crypto Puppy, and had just as good a talk. I think it was probably even better than before. I was a lot more comfortable with him and able to talk about more things more intelligently, which I occasionally like to do. Sometimes I just go into things blindly, and I don't want to do any research. I don't want to have any preconceived notions. Some people call that lazy, but that's just the way that I am. I like I'm just hanging out with a friend. You like to go to a bar and you just sit up next to a guy and, hey, what's going on? So what do you do? And it tends to usually work out. Okay, you run across those weirdos that you wish I shouldn't have talked to that guy. So anyway, I think we're in a permanent location now. We were considering moving out, but I think kind of like Mark Maron, we moved into a new location, and I think it's a little better than the last one. I like it. It's nice and quiet. Occasionally you get a siren in the background. I don't know if you guys can hear that. Sometimes there's guys with leaf blowers outside. But it's a good place. I like it. It's nice and quiet. And everything seems it's going to work out. Sometimes you get into you're worried about things. You're afraid to make that next step because you're so terrified of what's on the other side of that. What's on the other side? And sometimes it makes people stop from taking that jump. Sometimes you just got to do it, and everything works out. It does. Think about when you're a kid and you're riding your bike and you crash and you bloody your knee. You're afraid to crash and then you bloody your knee, and it turns into a scab, and then you pick it off, and then there's fresh white meat underneath that, and it's nice and clean and ready to go again, ready for that next fall. And you just got to keep doing it. When you're a kid, you're not as afraid of the ground as you are as an adult. It seems like when you get more towards on the other side of the downhill slope, that hitting the ground seems to be a lot harder once you. Man, that really hurt. And sometimes just getting out of bed to pull something. Man, I've done that too. You just get out of bed and you're like, holy crap! I just threw my back up. Getting out of a car. Man, I was down for 3 weeks one time. Got out of a car and tweaked my back, and that was 2 weeks. 2 weeks with a walker. That was 40 at the time. Those are the days, man. So, my point, just don't be afraid of things so much. Just try it. You only have one life, man, and you can live in misery on something. And you can wish that things will get better, or you can take that first step, man, and just make things better. Make things better for yourself. It might be a little rough in the beginning. Might not start off as fast and as sexy and clean and comfortable as you're used to. But get out of your comfort zone. Get out, and enjoy yourself. Create a better life for yourself, and I think that's what the whole crypto community is doing, man. Don't you think that they're in this to help not just themselves? They're not in this to just load their pockets up a load. That tends to be what happens, but they're not hoarding it. No, I don't think they're hoarding it. I think they're sharing this. I mean, they're obviously given a lot of technology, and they're sharing the technology, and they're inviting people in, and they're very friendly. which is well, like Alex. I mean, this is one of the guys that was the developer of the VOIP, and you would think that guy would be untouchable. And I feel like I just had Obama in my office here. I feel like I had, you know, Mark Maron got to sit down with Obama. I think I just got to sit down with one of the founding forefathers of technology, and he's not finished yet, man. It's not his only rodeo, and he's got plenty more horses in the stable to get on some more rodeos. So this is it. This is our show with Alex from Celsius Network, and it was a good talk, better than the first one. So thank you, Alex, for coming back on doing this. All right, you guys ready to start the show? All right, let's start the show. Cool. This is just like ABC News, man. Everything's working.
Yeah. Perfect.
Okay, so I know more about you now, and I could probably ask more intelligent questions. Like, tell us about VOIP and MOIP. So that's awesome. But you're still in New York and busy as ever. So since we've last talked and we had to scrap that one, what's been going on in your world?
Well, a lot of I think since we last talked, the SEC came out with an announcement that Ethereum is not a security, which is huge news.
Yeah.
It kind of, the news came out, and then no one, the Ethereum popped by 5%, and then it went down 5%. It was like basically a non-event, but I think it's a huge event. It's because the SEC was so negative on it, and they basically stated the opposite. So the fact that they clarified this means that the rest of the world is going to follow, because the SEC is considered the leader in the space from a regulatory standpoint, and every regulatory body around the world is basically usually waits for the SEC to make their stance before they decide which way they're going. So I think you'll see both Europe as well as Asian countries come out in support of Ethereum as a non-security.
Yeah, and since this has happened, what do you think this is going to start snowballing with other coins and tokens? And
so the ones that are really decentralized and are functioning as a utility that they promise, I think have a chance to get that as well. I think it's going to be a while before the SEC or anybody else comes out and says, here's a third coin that we approve. And it took 10 years between Bitcoin and Ethereum when you think about it.
Yeah.
So I think it's going to be a while before any other coins are approved. But for now, the Bitcoin and Ethereum platforms are obviously, whatever, combined, they're probably 80% of the market cap or 70% of the market cap. So they represent the vast majority of the value out there. And that's really also our focus. Our focus is those two coins.
Yeah.
And most people are transacting through those two coins. They are the kind of like the landing spot. When you get into crypto, you don't know anything about it. Chances are there's 90% chance you're going to buy Bitcoin. And if you didn't buy Bitcoin, chances are you bought Ethereum.
Yeah.
You're not going to land into crypto land with the Dogecoin or with who knows what, That's not going to be your first choice.
Yeah,
so,
we put our coin up, so maybe people will jump in on the Crypto the Wonder Dog token, so that would be cool.
Exactly. Yes, that is the new standard.
Yeah,
that's it.
Wow. Okay. So we've seen a little bit, well, not a little bit. We've seen a kind of a dip in the market and everything. And I don't typically talk about this stuff on the show, but I mean, it's interesting to me. I've heard people keep saying, "Oh, the middle of the month, and it's going to start shooting back up." And I actually did a show with a guy that he had predictions and he had all these charts and stuff, and he for the most part, he seems like a pretty smart guy, but he way off the mark on this, or just a little late. What do you think? What's going on?
So, it's a funny joke on Wall Street that they ask a young trader comes to an old trader and says, "So, what am I supposed to tell people about this Tesla stock? Am I supposed to tell them to buy it or to sell it?" And the old trader says, "Look, call half of your customers, tell them to buy it, and call half of them and tell them to sell it. And you'll be right, at least with half of them, Yeah. So no one has a clue. I mean, anyone who puts charts and whatever, yeah, they're probably right half of the time, but no one has a clue if it's going up or down. And you either believe in hodling or you don't believe in hodling. So I personally, I've been buying more Bitcoin and Ether as it went down. I sold some in the 800s. Just because I felt it went there too fast. I'm talking about the recent kind of change.
Yeah.
And when it started going below 600, I started buying it, and including buying some more yesterday. I mean, I keep buying it.
Yeah, so, I bet. Yeah.
And because I feel that this bearish market is overdone. Part of it had to do with the fact that, for example, they blocked, Citigroup, Bank of America, and JP Morgan. About a month ago or so, blocked all their customers in the US from buying cryptocurrencies with the credit card. They don't actually allow you to do a transaction. So there was this an artificial decrease in demand resulting from the fact that, a lot of people still use a credit card. It's not wire transfers or ACH to get into the market. And I think when everybody got comfortable finding other ways to do this, demand started coming back, but in the meantime, you had this imbalance between supply and demand, and we've seen a bunch of other platforms, Robinhood and others, start offering crypto. Abra now is offering 20 different coins. Full disclosure, I'm an investor in Abra, so
okay.
But I think it's getting easier and easier to access these platforms, and all that is going to help increase the price of both Bitcoin and Ethereum, because like we said, those are the two main coins people land on.
Yes, they are. And I that's when I do my sponsored shows, I take half in Ethereum or Bitcoin or whatever, and I take the other half in their token. And I like the Ethereum. I like it, and I've bought a little bit more in the last few days, so I'm right there with you on that one. So when we first talked, we were talking about obviously the Celsius network and what that is all about. So let's pretend we never talked about it and tell us what Celsius is.
Sure. So Celsius is a platform. It's a membership organization. We help our members basically with two basic services. One is get access to dollar loans. So if you have crypto, Bitcoin or Ether or other type of crypto, and you need access to dollars, instead of selling them and paying a lot of taxes, you can basically defer your tax, get a dollar loan. You'll pay 9%, interest only, and hopefully the coin goes up in value, and then you can just repay the loan later on.
Yeah.
So that's one side of the equation. The other side is if you don't need a loan, you can earn interest on your crypto. So just like if you took your paycheck and you went to the bank and you deposited, they'll pay you some interest. It's minuscule interest, but at least they pay you something.
Yeah.
In the crypto world, when you put your coins on exchanges or you put them in cold storage, you don't earn anything. So we believe that there's a better way of doing it, and we decided to basically, again, hodl the community, create a big pool of BTC, a big pool of ETH, and find ways to earn income for the coin holders on behalf of the entire pool.
Yeah.
So we, Celsius Network represents the coin holders. We don't represent the other side, but we found 4 or 5 different ways of earning income. And whatever we earn is distributed, almost all of it is distributed back to the community.
Wow.
As additional coins.
Yeah. And how did you? I mean, I know you've been in the tech world for a long time. You're one of the founding fathers of VOIP. Was this kind of before you thought of MOIP, or is this the same thing? How did MOIP come in?
Yes, from VoIP to MOIP, right? So back in the early 90s, I got really excited about the internet and thought that the future is all about the internet becoming the largest network in the world, and that voice, for example, is just going to be an application on the internet. Back then you had to pay a lot of money to make an international voice call, and and we said, no, it's going to be free. The internet is free, basically, so this is going to be free too. And everybody thought I was crazy. 20 years later, we have over 1 billion people using VoIP every day. And, the youngest people don't even know that there was a time when your phone had a wire and it was connected to something. They're like, don't understand what that is.
No.
Or that you had to pay for voice communications, So we think the same thing with money, right? Money is fungible. Money should be free. You should be able to move everywhere without you having to pay a lot of fees to your bank. And you should be able to earn a substantial return on it. Today, you can't do that because the banks basically keep most of the profit, right?
Yeah.
You make a deposit. They take your $1,000 and they lend it to me. They give you 1% per year, and they charge me 25% on my credit card.
Oh yeah.
So they make obscene amount of money, and none of us are screaming murder about it, right? None of us are saying, I'm not giving you my money. You guys are thieves. I'm going to
no. They just keep doing it. Just keep doing it.
They keep doing it, exactly. Yeah. And there's less and less banks out there. And so what we decided to do is basically make sure that in the crypto world, when this world is going to all the people that deposit money into coins in the crypto world, and we then lend out against it, that the interest that is earned is not going to a bank, but rather is going to go back to the community. So we created a community where all of the deposits are serving as the collateral, and we use that collateral to issue loans to the members in the community, charging only 9% instead of 25%, and paying the coin holders 5% back. So you keep your coins. It's safer to keep them with us than on exchanges.
Yeah.
And you earn 5% interest. So that's a no-brainer.
Oh my gosh, yeah. And so has this already launched? Is this already up and running?
Yes, it's launched. We have a working app available on Android, available in the App Store. And you can download it, register, apply for a loan, or apply to deposit your coins. We do have to do KYC ML. We still have to make sure that you're a good actor. You're not a terrorist, or you're not a money laundering guy, or a drug dealer. Mm-hmm. But beyond that, we don't check your credit. We don't really care what your credit is. It's not about issuing loans only to the credit-worthy rich guys, right? Yeah. The opposite. If you have any coins as collateral, that is good enough for us, because we are holding your coins as collateral, and that's why we're issuing you a cheap 9% loan, right? So. Yeah. So, this is about growing the community. It's about you going to your friends and saying, you guys are crazy. Why are you paying 20 or 25% on your credit card? Here, use Celsius. You'll pay less than half of what you pay everywhere else.
Are you giving out actual cards?
Giving out?
Are you giving out actual cards, like ATM cards or debit cards or things like that?
Yeah, so that's coming next. We don't have the cards ready yet.
Okay.
We should have that before the end of the year.
Oh, that's awesome.
You'll be able to get a Visa or MasterCard, on which you have the credits. It's like an ATM debit card.
Sure.
That you can use both in the U.S. and overseas.
Oh wow.
But currently we're doing larger transactions. So we're working with. For example, a big chunk of our contributors are ICOs themselves. So if you just did an ICO and you raised 10 million, where are you keeping those coins? In the cold storage? That doesn't earn you anything.
Yeah.
So at least with us, it allows you to earn some money while you're waiting to develop your product or launch your service or whatever else. So a lot of the incoming coins are from ICOs and the large holders. And a lot of the borrowers are also ICOs who are basically saying, I need some cash against I don't want to sell my coins. I need some cash to operate my business.
Yeah.
can you give me a loan against it? So we're doing both sides of the transaction.
What?
But there's a lot of individuals there as well.
Yeah. So it's like back in the day, you don't hear this term too much, but savings and loan, and you don't hear that too much anymore. But this is kind of like the crypto savings and loan.
Yes.
Yeah, that's awesome. And then so MOIP, which is money over
Internet protocol. Yeah.
Internet protocol. Okay, and you obviously wrote all of everything that went into that. Is that right?
Right. Yeah. So we're using Ethereum as our blockchain. So we did not create a new blockchain.
Okay.
And we support the top 20 blockchains. So we will work with you on Litecoin. We will work with you on Bitcoin. We don't. Our job is not to choose the winners and the losers. Our job is to have a node on every network that already operates, and enable transactions, or enable our members to earn interest or earn income from those networks. So, for example, Neo is a coin that has a proof of stake algorithm, right? Protocol. And by being a node on that network, a master node, you can basically earn income or earn dividend from Neo or from EOS, right? So, but most people, like most of your viewers, have no idea how to do that. They're not going to sit there and program stuff and figure out how to become a super node and how to get the dividend. And they need like for example, when Ethereum is planning to do that, you need at least 2,000 ETH. That's what I'm hearing, that they're going to require 2,000 ETH to be a node on the proof of stake implementation. So we allow you, even if you have 1/10 of one Ethereum, to earn just as much as if you had 2,000 ETH, right? So because we distribute everything pro rata. Mm-hmm. So by doing everything in the best interest of our membership, we're effectively collecting income from all of these sources. We are converting that into cell tokens, and you receive cell tokens from us. So now you receive cell tokens, right, which is your income. And you say, okay, well, what am I going to do with these cell tokens? Well, there are people who borrow dollars from us. They can pay their interest only in cell tokens. So they have to go to the market and buy those cell tokens from people like you, for example. Mm-hmm. And if you don't sell them, then their price will go up. If everybody decides not to sell their cell tokens, then the price of the cell token will go up, right? But the people who took the loan still have to buy cell tokens to pay the interest on their loan.
Okay.
So we have basically an organic market in which there's demand and supply of our token, inside our environment, which is different than most ICOs. Most ICOs, they mint a coin or they issue tokens hoping that there's going to be enough speculators buying and selling them. Yeah. And hoping that the price will go up. But we don't really rely on speculators. We rely on all the people that come to us who want loans. The more loans we issue, the more there's demand for cell tokens, the more the value of the cell token will increase.
Wow. Okay. I was cruising through your team here, and I know this is probably one of the things that we talked about. You had a great looking team, right? And
thank you. Yes.
Great looking team. How many people are you having right there where you are there in New York?
So in New York, we have about a dozen people. We have offices all over the world. I think we mentioned to you, we're probably the only company in crypto that has more women than men working. Yeah. In our company. So we're about 35 right now, and we do have the best looking team in crypto.
Yes.
That's for sure.
Yeah, you do. We're cruising through the team right here. Let me get the viewers so they can see what's going on here. So yeah, great looking team. And you guys are based in New York, right?
Yeah, we have several offices. The company is headquartered actually in the UK.
Oh, in the UK.
So
okay.
The holding company is in the UK, but we have offices in Israel and Belgrade, in the US, and we have a few people, like we have one guy in Amsterdam and a few people in the Far East. So we try to cover the world, be close to our community. Wow. And make sure that what we're developing is what they want to see, right? Because this is a product for the people, by the people, and again, our focus is not on profit generation. Like if you look at a lot of our competitors, like Salt and others, they're all focused on trying to charge you as much as possible, right? They charge twice as much as we charge on loans.
Wow.
And, our focus is on growing the community. We're basically saying if we can grow the community, that helps Ether, that helps Bitcoin, that helps our Cell token, because the more loans we issue, if we issue loans, cheap loans, then more people will come, and then there will be more demand for a Cell token.
Yeah.
So we win because all of our employees are Cell token holders, and they're all trying to do everything possible to increase the value of the Cell token, and it all translates into the size of the community and the health of the community. Just like the price of Ether is a representation of the health and the size of the Ethereum community. So, which is different than corporations that are all focused on profit generation.
Yeah, that's right. And the crowd sale is over, right?
Crowd sale is over. Yes.
And you guys, when I click on this, it keeps asking me if I'm a accredited investor. I have to say no because I'm not. Funds signed and raised $50 million.
Yes, we raised just over 50. So I think the total was 52.5.
Oh my gosh.
52.4 or something like that. I have to look at the final exact numbers, but it was just over 50, and from all over the world. So we had over 15,000 people register, and 95% were men. It was very shocking to learn that the crypto community is all these speculators and all these anarchists and libertarians and
libertarians.
Yes, well, it's a combination of all of them.
Yeah,
but 95% of them are men. It just
well, what do you think that is?
Well, I think women are more. They take their time, right? They kind of learn about things. They don't rush into things, and I think they, especially with crypto being so volatile, that's not something most women like.
No, they don't.
Volatility, they're the guys who thrive on volatility, right? They lose all their money and make money, but women are looking at this and saying, it's interesting. I'll get into it when the time is right. And obviously they missed the up, but they also missed the downside. In the last few months, I think. But now I just saw in I don't remember where I read it, but I just read an article that said that the percentage of new people joining is dramatic. That's like 60-40, so it's like 40% women.
Really?
And
okay.
Yes, and the few countries around the world where it's almost 50-50, like in Korea and a few other countries.
In Korea?
50-50 men. Yes.
Really?
Believe it or not.
Now you wouldn't think that would be the case. No.
Yeah, very, very active community there. About 25% of the population holds crypto in Korea.
Wow.
In the US, it's less than 5%. So
less than 5%.
Yes.
And then China is the biggest one, right?
Well, right now, from a trading standpoint, Japan and Korea are the biggest one.
Okay.
Because China was shut down, so you don't really know. We know more or less how many accounts they have, but we don't know how much they're trading.
Yeah.
So, but I'm hearing rumors that China will reopen. They'll legitimately allow 2 or 3 exchanges to operate in China.
Okay.
And those exchanges will require all of the users to basically authenticate themselves and link the accounts to their identities. It's not going to be these accounts that no one knows who they belong to. It's going to be more like a regular bank account where the bank and the government know what you have, how much you have, and you have to pay taxes at the end of the year. So
yeah, wonderful, wonderful taxes.
Yes.
Yeah, that's a shame. Going back over to your LinkedIn page here, people go on here. They can in the show notes they can find your LinkedIn page, and you are an ICO advisor on a few things. Obviously, you're the founder and CEO of the Celsius Network, but then also you're ICO advisor on Siren Labs. What's Siren Labs?
So yeah, so Siren Labs is a cryptophone. They created a blockchain-based phone that has 2 partitions. It's an Android operating system that has like the regular Android phone that you can buy from Samsung or anyone else or Google, but it also has a crypto partition. So if you flip the switch, that is a reduced instruction OS that has its own memory section that is much more secure and much better as far as enabling you to interact with exchanges as well as to operate a cold storage wallet and move coins without hackers or other people kind of being able to sniff what you're doing and how you're doing it. So I think it's a great tool for the active trader, for someone who's moving coins around all the time, because it gives you much better protection in a beautiful phone that you can't really get otherwise. So,
yeah.
So I really like the project. It also kind of matches with me being in the telecom technology world for the last 30 years.
Just made sense,
and,
huh?
Exactly, yeah. And I'm an advisor to about 5 or 6 other projects currently. They're all, again, trying to help the community, trying to build the community. Those are things that when I see something that's really helping the crypto community, I'm happy to help out.
Yeah, and I remember the first time we talked, you were talking about governing dynamics, which was something that was pretty big, right?
Yeah, well, that's my holding company. So through that, I did several startups like Arbinet. We talked about, that's a company that built VOIP, the first VOIP gateway, and deployed it around the world. Also Transit Wireless, which is a company that provides wireless services in the subways in New York. There's about 8 million people use the service every day.
Yeah.
So it's another example of, you know, the government saying, no, we don't want to, it's too dangerous to put wireless in the subway. New York was the last city in the world that did not, major city did not have wireless in the subways.
The last major city.
It's unbelievable. You know, I kept fighting with them and pushing them to agree to do it. And we built the service, and now you walk in, you have 5 bars. You have better reception underground than above ground.
That's awesome.
And you ask people, they're all like, of course. I every time I ride the subway, I ask people, I say, like, how long do they have the service? Oh, forever. People are like, no, it's only 3 or 4 years, you know? Before that, actually, people spoke to each other on the subway. Now everybody's just glued to their screens.
Yeah.
So, you know.
It's downfall of society.
That's life.
Yeah.
Yes, exactly.
Watching cat videos and yeah.
Exactly.
You the doggone it. Where did my thought go here? That's
so I ran 2 public companies before that, and invested in a bunch of both private and public companies as an investor. So I have a lot of experience in like the traditional world, the VC world.
Okay.
And really, I see this whole crypto revolution as the kind of like the decentralization wave, right? So all of us kind of live in this pyramid which is all focused on profit generation, right? The boss at the top makes all the profit, and we all kind of work really hard to deliver that for him or her. And
that's how they brainwash America. They brainwash everyone. That's how you do it. You work for the man, you know? Exactly.
And eventually one day, maybe you will rise to the top. Not
a chance. Not a chance.
Exactly. So you know, I saw the stats that like 20 years ago, the gap between the highest paid, the CEO, and the lowest paid person in the company was only like 10 times. And so the CEO made 10 times more than the factory worker or the guy driving the truck or the receptionist. And now the gap is over 300 times. So it went up dramatically. So the income for an average person went up by a single digit, right? It went from like whatever, by 5% or whatever, 10%.
Yeah, if you're lucky.
But the CEO income has increased, 30x. So it just there's no correlation between the input and the output, right? So and it's impossible for the average Joe to reach that level of income or participate at that level. And again, as a founder, as a CEO of large companies, even though I enjoyed that wealth, I can tell you that I feel that that world is not going to work for the 7.5 billion people that live on this planet.
No.
And crypto really represents, crypto is like the foot soldier that is fighting on behalf of the average person, right? It basically comes and says, it's not about profit. It's not about squeezing everything possible.
No.
It's about basically being inclusive, a global platform that works for everybody, that replaces the existing dollar or euro or the currency that your government issues, and replace it with something where, again, the people can get around and transact with each other or huddle together without the government or any central bank telling them how to do it. And
that's right.
you know, so you have basically, if you're looking at the last 700 years, you know, there's this concentration of wealth and concentration of power with banks and financial institutions. And this is the first time in history, crypto is the first time in history where the average Joe, the truck driver, the same people we talked about before, has entered this space. You know, they started doing mining or they bought some coins ahead of the institutions.
Yes.
So now the Goldman Sachs of the world and the JP Morgans of the world are looking at this and they're salivating and saying, how do we get in on the game? Because usually they're always the guys who are in the game first, and they're selling it to the average Joe at inflated prices.
Yeah.
And now what the opportunity is for all of us is to huddle and sell these coins back to these institutions at inflated prices. Like
absolutely.
It's payback time.
Yes. Yes.
So, and they're still sitting on the fence. And I think part of why the SEC finally caved in and decided that okay, we're going to announce that Ethereum is not a security is because they have tremendous pressure from the financial institutions to make a decision, and so they could jump in, right? As long as they don't know what it is, their compliance departments and the lawyers are telling them, don't touch this stuff, okay? Don't get our company in trouble. But now that there is actually an official decision, that allows them to go in and start touching Bitcoin and Ethereum and participate in the party. So, but the good news is that, again, for all of your viewers, is that if you're buying your coins now, then you'll be selling them at higher prices to these institutions, because even a little bit of money from these institutions represents a huge flow of wealth into the crypto community, and it's going to drive prices higher.
Yeah, that's great. And all these other technology, they'll start seeing that it's not monopoly money. It's real, and it's, you know, a lot more real than the government just printing more paper to, you know, flood into the system to drive down the price of the dollar, right?
I always say behind every Bitcoin, there's real dollars, because it takes real dollars to buy one. And behind every dollar, a regular dollar, there's like $160 worth of debt, because we owe so much money overseas that you know, we are the largest debtor in the world. There's never been anyone who owed so much money to the rest of the planet. So you know, every person in the country, every person in the United States owes over $165,000. You know, every baby that is born is born with this giant bag on their back with $165,000 worth of debt. I mean, it's just ridiculous, you know. And that number is increasing every year. It hasn't decreased in years. I mean, the last time our national debt has decreased was during the Clinton administration.
During Clinton.
Okay.
Wow.
Yes, that's the only time. In 2000 was the only year in which our national debt actually decreased.
Amazing.
So we've been growing it by over $1 trillion or $1.5 trillion per year. Okay. Trump already added over $1 trillion to the national deficit. So, and it's getting worse and worse, right? So again, he's not the only one. Every president we had did that, and it's because we're printing more dollars, we're taking more debt, we're taking loans every day. We have to take whatever $20 or $30 billion worth of loans, otherwise we cannot run our nation. You know, and it's just painful to watch that. So on the other spectrum, on the other side of the spectrum is crypto, where everybody knows how much is issued. No one can issue more. And again, God himself cannot come and press a button and print more Bitcoin.
Can't just drop another $2 million Bitcoin in your wallet. No, can't happen.
Exactly. So because of that, a lot of people feel that it's a great asset class that is completely uncorrelated to the dollar and all the assets that are dominated in dollars.
Yeah.
Real estate and stocks and bonds and everything else.
Well, is crypto going to be something that the government could actually even look into to help them pull themselves out of debt?
Well, so governments hate cryptocurrencies because you cannot print more, right? Almost all cryptocurrencies, by definition, have a limited amount of supply.
Yep.
And most governments can't run their business that way, right? So they live on deficits, right? They live on promising people they're going to do stuff for them, and the only way you do that is by throwing dollars at the people who got them elected, right? It's either the big corporations, or it's the all of those guys in Washington who are lobbyists, who making sure that this or that law is being passed. And by doing so, after their person gets elected, it all translates into dollars, right? They all get special tax treatment, or they get special contracts or whatever, right? So me or you don't get access to any of that.
No.
So we're seeing more and more, again, bifurcation between the average Joe who's just trying to run their life every day, who's paying that 25% of their credit card and doesn't have any other choice. I mean, you earn nothing in the bank. So even if you wanted to save, there's no reason to save when the bank pays you 1% a year.
No, not at all.
But when you want to borrow dollars, when you use a credit card, I mean, they rip you off. So most people, they pay their rent, and after rent, the next biggest expense, if they're lucky enough and they paid off their student loans, is the credit card interest that they have to pay. That's the next biggest payment. For many people, that is a bigger payment than the car loan, and that just does not make any sense.
No, not at all.
And so we think crypto is a much better solution because it gives you that appreciation, and now you can earn about a 5% per year interest. So you combine those things together, and it gives you a chance. It gives you a path to financial independence that you will never get through the process where you live in that pyramid and all you're doing is creating value for the guy at the top. Yeah.
So how do we get more of mainstream America to know about this, and how do they get, how is this going to be broadcast to the population?
So the awareness actually went up dramatically in 2018. The percentage of people in the population that know something about cryptocurrencies have gone up dramatically, but many of them are still sitting on the fence. They don't have a wallet. They never bought a coin, but they understand something about cryptocurrencies, right? They know about Bitcoin. They couldn't explain it to you, but they know they heard about it, right? So I think the opportunity here is for all of us, all of your viewers. I do that every day, right? Everybody I meet, I say, do you have a wallet? Do you own any coins? And if they don't, I force them to download a wallet right away. And if they don't want to buy a coin, I'll send them something just to get them initiated. So yeah. Send them a fraction of a coin just to get them started, right? And I think that experience, when they see it instantly appearing in their wallet, changes them immediately, because they realize, really, I don't need a bank in the middle? No, you don't need a bank.
You didn't need a
bank.
bank.
By the way, every person on the planet can send you or receive from you instantly.
Yep.
Where instantly, I mean within 10 minutes. That's compared to banks, that's instant. Try to do a wire transfer and see how long that takes.
Oh my God. Yeah.
So I think the educational process is all about each one of us inducting another 10 people into cryptocurrencies. It's not going to be by decree from the government or by some airdrop from the central bank of the Fed. They're not going to do any of that. So
the Fed token, the Fed token,
yes. No, I just don't see that. So I think, again, look, governments love to control their currencies, and here no one is in charge, right? I mean, it's like this organized anarchy. It's like a decentralized Buddhism, right? It's completely different. It's the opposite of what we live in every day.
Yeah.
So for a lot of people, it's hard to understand what this is. And just like I ask people, do you know how your car works? No, I don't. Do you know how VOIP works? No. Well, you use it every day, right? I mean, you don't need to understand the internal process of the combustion engine to press your leg on the pedal and drive wherever you're going to. So we hope that people will really treat crypto as this utility that underlying their financial, well-being, and it just allows them to transact with people everywhere.
Yeah.
So I think that's, and it comes through continuous use. Most of us, when we used the internet the first time, it was complicated.
As scary as can be. Scary as can be. Oh my God.
Exactly.
My
So
heart
same
was
thing
beating.
here.
Oh man.
Exactly. So same thing here. You first time you send money in cryptocurrencies, you feel like, oh my gosh, it's never gonna get there. I just lost my money. And you call the person 10 times. Did you get it? Did you get it? No. Did you get it? No. So, and 5 minutes later, they finally got it, and you're like, wow, this worked. This actually worked. So after you go through it a few times, you don't even think about it. Just send it, and off you go. So, so I think it's about education. It's about utility, and we still need. Look, we need a few killer apps. I think borrowing and lending are killer apps, but we need a bunch of other great services that you can only do with crypto, which will get many people to come and implement or adopt this great utility.
Yeah, absolutely. And I did a show just a few days ago with a couple of football players, a couple of NFL guys, and I got them to buy their first portion of a Bitcoin. And
that's great.
He was so scared, during the first part, and he's like, he's putting in his credit card. And he goes, well, should I be doing this? I'm like, yeah. And then he has to take a picture of himself with his driver's license, and he's like, what's going on? Somebody's going to steal my identity. I'm like, no one's going to steal your identity, man. So,
it is. These are steps, that are extreme in the world of the internet, right? I mean, most of us got our identity stolen once or twice, and we know how hard this is. So having to trust the company that gives you the wallet, that only wants to make sure that you are not a criminal, right?
Yeah.
It's a dual trust. You have to trust them, they have to trust you. But most of them are good actors, and they don't, they're not trying to steal your identity or steal your
I mean, they're getting they're going to have access to your wallet anyway. So if they wanted to steal it, I guess they pretty much could. Yeah.
Exactly.
So we have a show coming up, the North American Sports and Blockchain Conference, and unfortunately, we're having to push that out until February now. So mark that in your calendar, because I don't think I let you know this. But we're going to, instead of doing this in August, we're going to do it in February, February 4th, 5th, and 6th. But you came on early as one of our speakers, and you had something that you were going to talk about. So could you give us just a little sampling of what what we can expect for sports and blockchain from you?
Well, so our part of the message is that this is war, right? The war, there are two giants who are fighting each other. The centralized world that kind of we built over the last few hundred years, and the decentralized world, which is this emerging new, completely different way of thinking, right? And those two worlds are colliding, and you really have to choose sides, right? We're telling everybody out there that if you live inside the pyramid and you're choosing to work for the pyramid and support the pyramid, you are fighting the decentralized world. You're fighting this opportunity that everybody is trying to work so hard on to really replace all of these institutions with something that is for the people, by the people.
Yeah.
And I'm going to I have like a 20-slide presentation that walks you through why what I'm saying is correct and why the decentralized wave, this tsunami, is going to win over, which is sounds very crazy, but when you look at the details, you realize that it's inevitable. It's going to wash all of us, and the world is going to be better a place afterwards.
Absolutely.
But if all your assets are stuck inside that pyramid is going to collapse on itself, and it's going to lose a lot of its value because every decentralized company can compete with every centralized company by definition, because it does not charge any fees. Like the Ethereum platform or the Bitcoin platform are basically free platforms.
Yeah.
You can create a lot of value there, but there's no fee for transacting on those platforms.
Yeah. Wonderful. Yeah, I'm very excited to see this, because there's a lot of people that we've been talking to that have some, just all over the board, from the management of sports to the contracts that these players have. Then we go into the esports, which is a whole new world, and just everything in there. Betting, gambling, and fantasy sports. So all this stuff is transparent, and people can see everything's verified. And I just thought it was just a natural thing for sports and blockchain to happen together.
and it's a perfect environment to create all this value that's created in sports. It's all virtual, right? I mean, it's all about each player represents their identity and their value in the community, in the sports community. So, and it's them interacting with this with their
yes, it's a way to interact and really interact.
You don't need a bank, you don't need the government, you don't need anyone else. You can actually create and settle and transact all of that in cryptocurrencies, and keep more. Each person can keep more of that value, because less and less goes to toll collectors.
Yeah, little men in between that just keep getting fat off for no reason, just other than to take your money.
Yep.
Yeah.
All those little men flying their private jets.
Yes, for no
having
reason.
Fancy offices. Yes.
For no reason, man. So when we first talked, you told me that a story about how you were involved with crypto from the beginning, and how you kind of got into that.
Yeah, it's a funny story, because a friend of mine who did VOIP with me sent me Satoshi's paper in 2010, and it was end of 2009, and I looked at it, I was like, oh, this is so slow and inefficient, it will never happen. This thing is, it's a joke, you know. I was very negative on it, and then after Mongox, I was like, man, this is unbelievable. This thing is so resilient. It survives anything. It survives an earthquake. It survives so, you know, it's like the Hydra, right? It's like every time you cut a head off from Bitcoin or Ether, it grows two head. It just goes faster and faster. So I decided to buy some coins in 2013, and participate in a bunch of ICOs since, and advised a bunch of companies. And then I said, okay, well, what is missing in the community now? And I realized that it's really this: how do we move from this early adoption phase to mass adoption, right? How do we jump through that adoption chasm?
Yes.
And really decided to start Celsius Network, because I feel that is issuing credit and paying people interest are the two most critical things that everybody on the planet needs, right?
Yeah.
If you just solve those things, you do them cheaper, faster, better for the community, then millions of people, hundreds of millions of people will join. And by definition, if they all join, the community will become much more valuable.
Yeah, it will. Absolutely. And then your education, you said that you were not the best kid in school. Got a little honorary.
Definitely not. You know what they say. It's the A students work for the B students, who work for the C students, who work for the guy that runs the company. That's the guy who had all D's in his. I was not a good student. I got thrown out of high school. Attended two universities, didn't finish any of them, and did 3 years in the military. So
was that in Israel?
In Israel, yes.
Yeah.
Yes, so.
Wow. How was that?
It was fun. I mean, I jumped around. I was in the pilot program. I was in the counterintelligence. I was in infantry.
Wow.
I visited almost every unit that exists in the Israeli military. But
yeah.
But I had fun. I mean, it was a great education, you know, and you know, in Israel, when you're like an 18-year-old, and they basically load you up with a responsibility, which is something that you know, it definitely matures you overnight. You become responsible for other people's lives, and that definitely gets your attention. You know?
Yeah, absolutely. Yes. So what do you think about that? Do you think that that should be something that mandatory in the United States, that kids get out of high school before they go to college? They got to go to the military for a little bit, learn how to make a bed.
Yeah. I have 6 kids, so believe me, I would love to send them for a year to boot camp.
Start them at 5 and just send them off, right?
Definitely. Like I just feel that they are so spoiled and so
absolutely. Yeah.
You know, like they glued to their phone. They think their entire world exists in some virtual.
Oh my gosh.
Social media, whatever circle. Like they live in a different world. You know.
They
so
do.
I think,
yeah.
Yes, I think getting them on the ground, living in a tent, cooking their own food. You know, like definitely.
Yeah, we're living in a world where we're sending a kid outside as a punishment.
Exactly.
If you're going to your room, that's reward. You're going outside to go play. You're being punished. That's amazing.
Exactly. So
Holy
I
cow.
think it's definitely we're missing that connection, to one-to-one connection, which I think our generation is. We grew up on that. Now it's, like I see my kids. I mean, their friends. They all sit in the room and they're all on their phones texting each other.
They're texting each other in the room.
In the room, exactly, which is just ridiculous. So
yeah,
well, because they all want everything posted, because they all if they don't have 5 minutes with any kind of 20 people liking their post, they feel like they're no longer part of society.
Yeah.
So our heroes used to be the astronaut, the engineer, the guy that built the bridge, the guy that invented something, and now they're hip hop artists and
the YouTubers,
YouTubers and people that make a lot of money, right? So so I think we just need to really revisit who are heroes and why they are heroes.
That's true, man. I'm going through the same thing with my daughter. She's all into this one singer boy, and everything is all about him. And it's just it's making Instagram account dedicated to his photos. Just watching his videos on YouTube all day long. She doesn't watch TV anymore. She only watches YouTube.
Yep.
And she doesn't socialize with her friends after school. It's during school only. And then as soon as school's out, they go home and they sit in the room. It's sickening.
Horrible.
It is, man. Well, this is awesome.
I sent my 17-year-old to Africa. She's gonna be
get out, really?
She's gonna be helping with elephant conservation in Tanzania.
That's amazing.
And so she's about to leave in whatever 2 or 3 weeks. So she asked me yesterday. She asked me which hotel is she staying on, and I said, don't worry. It's a beautiful hotel. Like she has no clue. Like she's going to be living in a tent and carrying her own water.
It's a 5-monkey hotel. It's
exactly.
on the top. That's
she thinks it's like the Beverly Hills hotels or something like that. So I can just see that phone call the minute she lands there. Where the hell did you send me to?
So she didn't read the pamphlet, apparently.
She did not read the pamphlet. No. So, yes.
Watch out for hyenas. Don't turn your back on the lions. They're not in a cage.
Exactly. So we'll see how long she survives that program.
That's amazing. That's really cool, man. I wish I could get my daughter to do that. All right. So what's next for Alex and the Celsius Network? Or are you because you develop more things than just what you start? I mean, you start something, you just keep moving on, right?
Well, so our idea is to add more things into this basket called Celsius Network. Right, we're starting with 2 simple products, borrowing and lending. But the idea is that this basket will do everything in your best interest, right? I mean, imagine if there was somebody who cared about you every day and planned your future for you every day and did everything in your best interest. What a world would that be, right? Because your bank, your insurance company, your financial advisor, they just all they're trying to do is put their hand in your pocket, right?
Just, I mean, they're gimme.
Grab those fees, and what we're trying to do is really create an AI, like an artificial intelligence platform that manages all of your assets for you and does everything in your best interest. So the computer never gets tired. It wakes up every morning, works 24 hours a day, and it does whatever you told them. So if you tell them to do what's in your best interest, it will do what's in your best interest. So we think that's what the future looks like, and we're going to be adding more and more products until we convince more and more people that this is this is the best way for them to reach financial independence.
It really is. Yeah, absolutely. So what's next? What's the next show that you're going to be going to? I know that it seems like there's a show every other day and every week and every month and
I did way too many of them in the last few months, and my wife basically asked me if I still want this family or I'm just gonna be like the traveling man. I'm on lockdown.
Can she rent a husband somewhere?
I'm on lockdown for June and part of July, but we're gonna be, all of our events are listed on our website. So if you go to celsius.network and scroll all the way to the bottom, you'll see all of our events listed there.
Okay.
Where we're attending, but again, you can most times you can. I'm in New York a lot, so you can definitely, if you're coming to town, just ping me, and would love to get together and meet the rest of the, crypto community.
Oh, so you're on your way to San Francisco? Oh, wait.
Yeah, we're gonna be in San Francisco.
Oh, that was yesterday, right? Or day before yesterday. Oh, that's almost over. June 16th, 17th, 18th.
Oh yeah, no, I had to skip that show. One of my co-founder went there, but
did he? Okay.
Yeah, but we were last week was a blockchain week here. We had back-to-back events, BCI, BWF. So there were a lot of events. I presented at least 4 or 5 conferences.
Wow.
Here in New York. And but we have a few more coming up. I don't remember exactly my schedule, but
yeah,
it's
and Tel Aviv, since you have a love for
yes. So Lisa, one of our the head of our sales for Asia is going to be there. She's presenting at that conference. I won't be in Tel Aviv, but
you're not going to be there.
No, not in this event. I think Daniel and Lisa are going to be there.
Yeah, and Amsterdam. Are you going to that one?
I think I have to skip that one too.
Do you? Yeah.
I did too much travel. I'm in a deficit. I have to make few deposits before I can make some withdrawals from
women are crazy like that, aren't they? Yeah.
Yes,
come on,
exactly.
spend some time with me.
All
right.
That's a lesson my dad taught me. He said, listen, women are like a bank account. You cannot do an overdraft. You have to make deposits before you make any withdrawals. And that was a great lesson. It's like it's simple, but it's pretty
happy
pretty
wife,
accurate.
happy life. Yeah.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah, happy wife, happy life. Man.
Well, we have 6 kids. I mean, it's not easy. My wife has a big career also.
What are the ages on there? What's your ages?
My oldest is 18, and my youngest is 3.
3.
And everything in between. Yes.
Man, so is there a lot of fighting going on? Is there, he touched me.
The 3-year-old and the 6-year-old, they're like they're picking at each other every day. But the rest of the gang are they're more like, okay, how do we get more money out of dad?
Oh yeah.
Because they all max out their credit cards. They're like, do you still have a working card? Can I charge some stuff on your card?
Oh my God.
Negotiating with each other. On, who's going to use the, it's they're so spoiled.
Yeah, I know. Because we I guess I probably grew up like you I didn't have anything when I was growing up as a kid, and then I wanted to give my kids everything, which is the opposite of what you're supposed to do. You just hold on to that. Don't give them everything.
Yes.
So
teach them how to fish. Don't give them the fish.
That's right. That's what I did. I just opened up a big old fish bag and said, here's fish. have fish. Don't ever worry about fish. It'll always be there.
Yes.
So
perfect. Well, let's. I hope to see you in February, and let's continue the conversation.
Yeah, this is fun, man. I like hanging out with you, Alex. I got to come out to New York and do a live show with you. That'd be fun.
Perfect.
Yeah.
Yep.
So, all right. Well, I'm glad you were able to rearrange your schedule for me this morning and got to hang out. And we'll be seeing more from you soon, man.
Great. Thanks for setting this up.
All right, Alex. Good talk, brother.
Take care.